What is happening, boys and girls? I hope you didn't experience any setup withdrawals because 2 weeks might seem like an eternity for a lot of you guys, but nonetheless, welcome back to episode 326. Got a banger for you, so sit back and relax and let the war's setup begin. I'm getting scammed by my own network, you guys. All right, these are the speeds I'm getting with my current network, and these are the speeds I'm getting with Mint Mobile. I'm literally overpaying when I can get the same thing for as low as $15 a month. That's because my partner Mint is built on the nation's largest 5G network. And the results speak for themselves. You don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're able to keep the costs low because they sell directly to you online. They cut out all the retail stores and the salespeople. So why should you guys pay more than you have to for access to the same network? I'm not even joking when I say this, but I literally switched over to Mint before I shot this video because I was getting more coverage and better speeds than my current network. That's actually embarrassing. So click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen if you guys are interested in the best value in wireless. All Mint mobile plans include unlimited nation talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. And the best part is they make it really easy to switch thanks to their digital eSIM cards. You can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone. Kicking off the episode is Cloud, the man himself. That's such a badass name. I got a feeling his parents were a huge Final Fantasy fan. Or maybe it's just a common name in their country. Who knows? So Cloud is an admin coordinator from England who spent about 2 years getting the setup to this point for gaming, listening to music, and watching anime, if it wasn't already obvious with all the collectibles. The setup is built on a custom beech wood worktop with 2 Alex units for support, and even though majority of the setup is in white, I'm happy to see a lighter wood countertop for that subtle contrast. You know, I was just about to say, this setup looks very similar to the one I had in my last place, and then I read the notes. It's awesome to see that my old setup is still inspiring people. Although I would say that this setup looks way better than what I built back in the day. The 49-inch super ultra wide looks more badass underneath the 32-inch monitor. It also looks like he painted the microphone, and he took it a step further to not only paint the bottom bezel of the monitors, but also paint the entire frame. That is some serious dedication. But I caught you slacking, my guy. You're using black Velcro straps instead of white. What a shame. For peripherals, he's rocking a really nice, lightly modded EP84 keyboard that's paired with the Logitech G Pro Superlight. I actually like that Cloud lifted the ultrawide off the table to make room for his audio interface. This is also a more comfortable angle than I had it back in the day. Speaking of audio interface, he's got that hooked up to his AT2020 mic, and for audio output, we got the KEF Q150 speakers. My guy even has some Dragon Ball figurines, and ladies and gents, let's say together, pencil drawer. You know, I'm actually impressed that you're able to fit 2 remotes in that tiny drawer. Very good use of space. Cables are managed very well because of the type of raceways he used. These have openings on the sides, which allows him to pull out the cable at any length, which results in these really clean and straight lines. Believe it or not, but the microphone and the monitor are not the only things painted in the setup. He also painted the case for his gaming PC. The Fantex P360A does not come in white, but that didn't stop Cloud from modding it. I'm so glad to see the palette game rock mounted vertically to show off that awesome crystal design. It's pretty wild seeing how far your setup has come in the last 3 years. This was such an inspiring transformation. Thank you, Cloud, for sharing this with us, my guy. Up next is Connor from Charlotte, North Carolina, and his dual-purpose setup. He works from home as a real estate appraiser, but he also likes to game on his spare time, and he actually put this all together within 4 days. It doesn't take long before your eyes are drawn to the PC. It's a bit of a distraction really, considering that's the only white product in the setup. Look, I think we can all agree that the white version of the LAN Cool case is the cleanest, but sometimes we gotta commit to a color scheme, especially if aesthetics is important to you, which clearly it is. I mean, you have a very clean setup, my guy, so I always wonder in these situations, Like, what was the deciding factor? If the setup had a nice balance of white and black, then yeah, I mean, the case would have fit perfectly, but now it just throws off the whole vibe. The desk is really nice though. It was originally a door that he sanded and stained with multiple coats of epoxy to give it a nice dark wood look. And for support, he hooked up 2 steel frames underneath. It's got a nice minimalistic industrial look, which I really like. He's rocking triple monitors, but the one in vertical mode is set much higher than the other 2. Personally, I think this is the least popular layout compared to the other 2. I don't necessarily think it's wrong or uncomfortable. It's more so a question of aesthetics, but then again, that is subjective too. I've always seen people align the top of the monitors together, and I think that would look much nicer, especially since you don't have any speakers underneath that you might be blocking. On the contrary, if I had speakers on the bottom, then I feel like this layout would be the most ideal. Anyways, moving on to peripherals, we got the EVGA Z20 keyboard paired with an X17 mouse with a small little cable sleeve covering the cables across the desk. I don't think I've seen EVGA peripherals on Setup Wars in like 5 years. As mentioned earlier, the setup doesn't have any speakers, so he relies on the Astro A50s for music, gaming, and watching content. But I would definitely recommend picking up some speakers eventually so that you can kick back and watch content on your TV instead of using your headset. No complaints when it comes to cable management, everything looks to be under control here. And finally, powering everything is the custom LAN cool build featuring the 10700K and an EVGA RTX 3070. There were definitely some interesting choices that went into the setup, but overall, I'd say it's a pretty dope battle station. Thank you, Connor, for sharing this with us. Here's another setup with 3 monitors. However, this layout is more practical and looks much more pleasing to the eyes. Look at how he perfectly aligned the ultraride with the other 2 side monitors. I couldn't be more proud. So DeMar is a student from Maryland who does a lot of reselling on the side. In fact, that's how he was able to save up and upgrade his setup over the past 5 years. My guy has been on the grind, and I respect that. He uses the setup for pretty much everything from schoolwork to video editing, gaming, and of course his side hustle, buying and reselling shoes. All 3 displays are hooked up to the desk, but it looks like he has the cables going into the wall. In fact, he's able to store all the wires and his Wi-Fi router on the other side of the wall, which is so convenient. We got all the cables coming in from behind the monitor and going out from the other side into the back of the PC, which we'll check out later. Even though the monitor riser wasn't necessary, since everything is pretty much mounted to the desk, it's still a nice addition as it complements the countertop while giving the setup an elevation. I don't know if you guys realize this, but anytime you add elements that give your setup depth or height, you're essentially giving your setup a 3-dimensional look, which is a good thing. You don't ever want your setup to look flat or 2-dimensional. Otherwise, it just blends in the background and becomes monotonous. Adding stuff like monitor risers, lighting behind your displays, or even a headboard all contribute to that 3-dimensional look. And I bring this up because I think DeMar did a pretty damn good job including these elements. The Gobi glide bar adds depth, the riser adds height, and so does the wall shelves nearby with the green vines. Everything spills over so naturally and fits so well with the theme of the setup. You should be really proud of what you've built so far, especially for someone your age. I'm very impressed. For peripherals, he's rocking a GK61 with Amazon Coral keycaps and a glorious Model O wireless with the perfect mousepad that ties everything together. The setup doesn't have any speakers, so he mostly uses the built-in ones from the monitors, but when he's listening to music or gaming, he does swap over to the Corsair Void Pros and brings out the Elgato Wave 3 microphone. Powering it all is a beautiful all-white custom build inside the O11 Mini Snow Edition, and it's packing the Ryzen 5 5600X with the Gigabyte Vision RTX 3070 Ti. Smart move going with those angle connectors for your GPU, by the way. Those look super clean. I would eventually replace the product boxes on the shelves with stuff that has more meaning to you, but other than that, I really love the cozy vibes of this setup, and it's an incredible accomplishment for someone your age. Keep up the good work, keep up on the hustle, and thank you, DeMar, for sharing this with us. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we have the RGB Gamer's Dream setup. He's got that white on white with RGB color scheme that's synced up to his voice assistant.
Computer, it's showtime.
I am Jarvis, a virtual artificial intelligence, and I'm here to assist you with a variety of tasks as best I can. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Importing all preferences from home interface. Systems now fully operational.
I mean, that's a pretty badass way of starting up your setup. You get both a light show and music at the same time. So Lucien is currently going to school in Switzerland to be an automation technician, and this is the setup he uses for gaming and productivity. We got dual 25-inch, 240 Hz monitors on top of a custom countertop that he drilled into a pair of steel legs. For peripherals, he's using a Razer Huntsman Mini paired with a Model D- with clean cable routing across the desk. I just love seeing people use the stands of the monitors as a guide for the cables. I think this is the third setup from just today that doesn't have any speakers, just a headset for all audio, including input. Cables are neatly covered with some sleeves and ran underneath the desk with the help of some raceways and cable clips, all leading back into his custom PC inside an O11. We have yet another Ryzen 5 5600X with a Vision RTX 3070. There doesn't seem to be any type of symmetry in the setup, which is fine, but I would at least put something else on the wall shelf. You have so much space, but decided to use only 1/3 of it. You know, those small plants don't look like they belong there. You always want to be mindful of proportions, meaning don't put small items on large surfaces or vice versa. If you must go with plants on the shelves, I think a rectangular pot makes the most sense to take advantage of the length. Or better yet, get some vines to hang off of it. There's a lot of different ways that you can use the empty space and spice up your setup. Nonetheless, thank you for sharing this with us. Wrapping up the episode is no stranger to Setup Wars, ladies and gents. In fact, he's been featured a few times now, but Justin is back again to showcase his fully revamped battle station. He's rocking a 35-inch ultra-wide as his main with a 27-inch flipped up top as a secondary. Both are 1440p displays, and they are both mounted to his custom countertop. It's actually a butcher block that he picked up from Home Depot, and he stained it with red mahogany. I think it came out looking great, and it certainly matches the monitor riser and the wall shelves. Really good work with the consistency here. Moving down to peripherals, he's using a custom QK65 keyboard paired with a Logitech G Pro Superlight. I'm actually surprised he went with the red color. It certainly pops against the black mousepad, but I would have loved to see some more red accents in the setup somewhere. For audio, the primary source are the Edifier MR4s, but he does switch over to the Philips SHP 9600 for gaming. I like that he has all of his streaming gear within arm's reach underneath the riser. Superb work with the cable management. We have a super long raceway that he used to channel all the cables neatly from edge to edge. But can we talk about the PC? Damn! This is hands down the cleanest black and white build I have seen all year long. I mean, the custom cables, the distro plate, the tube runs. I mean, have you seen a more beautiful thing in your life? The rest of his room definitely complements his setup. I love how he was able to maintain the same cozy vibes everywhere else. You know, we got a fireplace going on with some collectibles and a 65-inch Samsung TV that's powered by another custom PC. I gotta say, that is probably the coolest nano leaf line design I have seen. I'm definitely stealing this design for a future setup build. But the coolest part of the setup for me, I think, is the custom rustic shelf packed with a plethora of custom keyboards. This whole room is a vibe, and I can easily see myself kicking back on my day off or after a long week of work. Excellent job on this amazing gaming room, Justin, and thanks for coming back on the show. As always, let me know in the comment section below which of these setups was your favorite, and if you're still enjoying Setup Wars even after 7 freaking years, let me know. Show your support by tossing a like. It helps the YouTube algorithms. As always, thank you so much for watching. I love you beautiful nose hairs? I was gonna say nose hairs. Anyways, I love you nose hairs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.